Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to something slightly different. Today we're going to go up in the Fenix A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and we're going to do a flight. We're going to do a pretty standard, regular flight in an Airbus A320 between Stockholm Arlanda and Lulea, which is a little bit further north in Stockholm. And I'm going to try to demonstrate to you all some of the more advanced functionality of the Fenix A320, the fact that it includes some of the sort of dispatch-style integrations, so we can follow something approximating a real-world procedure, including dispatch flight planning, the use of the data link, load sheets, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. That's what we're going to try and do today. Now, I'll get the disclaimers out straight away. Although I am a real-world pilot, I'm a private pilot. I've got no commercial experience. I don't know anything about flying an Airbus A320 in the real world, and I don't know anything about airline procedures. Or at least I know very, very little. And so what we're doing today is a bit of a laugh. It's based on things that I've seen and things that I understand to be the way things are done. But none of this, I can't guarantee any kind of authenticity here. I don't know that much about real-world commercial aircraft operations. So with that said, though, we're going to give it a go and we're going to see what happens, just for a bit of a laugh. And that starts with dispatch and flight planning. So in the real world, it's not really the pilots who do most of the flight planning. You've got a team of people working in an office called dispatchers, and it's their job to design the flight plans, to check over all of the NOTAMs, notice to airmen, basically do all of the very complex stuff involved in working out how you get an aircraft from one part of the world to another part of the world, while obeying all the different rules and taking into consideration things like how much fuel you have to have and calculating the weight and balance and so on and so forth. So anyway, we're going to start with that, and Fenix has a really nice integration with a bit of software called SimBrief from Navigraph, and that's what we're looking at now. So this is actually a website, but everything we do here is styled on what a dispatcher would do, and it generates a bunch of information that we can download into the aircraft in a somewhat realistic manner, using ACARs and the data link and all kinds of other cool stuff. Oh, we've got some people here commenting. My laptop is a bit further away from me than usual because I've got so many controllers on my desk, so it might take me a moment or two to get to chat from time to time. But welcome, Byron. How do? Just finished watching the DCS news from yesterday. And Storm Kimari, welcome to the stream. Greetings, everyone. Let's have some Airbus fun. So, yes. Let's enjoy a delicious flight to Lulea. So, we're going to be flying as a Scandinavian Airlines flight, so that's airline code Sierra Kilo. This is flight number 8, this particular one. We're SK8 or Scandinavian 8 today, departing ESSA, which is Arlanda, arriving ESPA, which is Lulea, and it's automatically selected an alternate for us, which is Umeå, which is almost halfway, so that's kind of perfect. We can check the weather here. This is a METAR, and I can see it's Cav OK, 80 knots wind, 230. That sounds like it's probably right down one of the runways, so that's actually not too bad. A little bit strong wind, but it's in a good direction. 19 degrees Celsius. And QNH 1010. Nice. Okie dokie. So this all looks pretty good. I'm going to choose a departure time. Now this departure time is in Zulu, otherwise known as UTC. I'm currently in Sweden, which is CEST, so I'm 2 hours ahead. I want to depart at local time 3:15, so that means I need to put it down for 1:15. That's going to be the Zulu time. Aircraft. I'm going to select an aircraft profile that I've already created. Oscar Yankee Kilo Alpha Mike is a real-world A320 in the service of SAS, so we're going to use that aircraft. Climb profiles, cruise profiles, descent profiles, all of this I'm going to leave at the defaults, because it will do a pretty good job of figuring out the best profile for me. Estimated flight time is 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's figured out based on the wind that we should depart on 19 right. In the real world, we might get told to depart from a different runway by ATC, but we're not flying with ATC today. I could, maybe in a future video I will, in fact, I'll log into VATSIM, because I usually, when I'm flying on my own, I normally do my flights on VATSIM. We can choose how much fuel we expect to burn in the taxi out, the taxi in. If we want to retain extra fuel on board, if we were going to arrive somewhere where we didn't intend to fuel for whatever reason, maybe the fuel's expensive there or we don't have an agreement, we could also tell the planner that I want to bring X amount of additional fuel on board. Not going to do that today. Altitude will calculate automatically. Passengers, I'm going to assume that for this kind of a route, you're not going to have a full load. This aircraft can carry... I don't in SASI's configuration. I don't know, but I know in general it can carry up to about 180 passengers. Today we're going to go 80 because I think that's probably fairly realistic. I'll go for an automatic freight. Yeah, the rest will leave automatic. And you can see here it's automatically generated a route for me. And if I scroll down to the map, we can actually analyze this, and you see it's pretty much a straight route. That airway takes us pretty much directly to Lulea. So that's looking pretty good. At this stage, if we're happy with all of this, we click Generate Flight. I'm going to say yes. And at this stage, it generates the entire kind of briefing package that we will then download once we're in the aircraft. So that is now done. This is now a generated briefing, and you get a summary of all the information here on this page, and this is what the actual briefing looks like, and this is what gets transmitted to the aircrew. Now these briefings are always in text, because depending on where you are in the world, it might be delivered over the internet, which is going to be our case. We've got a tablet in the aircraft connected to Wi-Fi, or this could end up being a telex or a fax, depending upon where you are in the world. You might not necessarily have easy access to the internet wherever you might be, and so sometimes you're going to get text only. So that is done. And actually, a cool thing that SimBrief does, if I scrolled all the way down to the bottom here, I would even have the option to pre-file a flight plan with VATSIM if I was going to fly online, but we're not going to do that today. So we can leave that as it is just now, and we're going to switch to actually the aircraft view. Here I am in Microsoft Flight Simulator at Arlanda. Oh, here we go. Frantic Stone listening in car to QVC. QXC, yes, indeed. Byron, I fly MSFS, although not as much as DCS, and only light aircraft so far. Looking to get this A320 though, so this is right up my Strasse. Very good, sir. Yeah, I really like it. Like, I've always been a big fan of X-Plane. I always felt like the flight models and the realism were just so much better in X-Plane. But this new version of Microsoft Flight Simulator looks very, very good indeed. But I wasn't that interested until it came to the point when we had the heavy metal like this to fly. Like, I'm really into this kind of stuff. So with Fenix and with PMDG and all the others releasing aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, that makes me much, much happier. I'm going to have no air traffic control, by the way, no other aircraft, but we're going to use the live time and weather. I've already selected my Airbus with the correct livery, and we're going to take off from ramp 8, which is on Terminal 5, which is where we would depart in the real world for this type of flight. So let's go ahead and get loaded up, and we still have about... How long have I got before I'm supposed to depart? About 35 minutes. That should give us just enough time to bring the aircraft out of cold and dark and get the passengers on board. Oh, okay. He's on his qualifying cross-country. I thought he was talking about, like, Shopping Channel or something. Very good, sir. So here we go. We're in the aircraft. The aircraft is in a completely cold and dark state. So this is the way you would find it for the first flight of the day. Let's open the door. We can hear what's going on out there. Oh yeah, we've got one of these tubes. What the hell are they called again? Oh wow, okay, my mind has gone completely blank. But yes, we've got a jetway. Thank you, a jetway is what I'm trying to say. So that'll get connected up once we open the doors and so on. But before I start booting up the aircraft, let's take a look at our EFB, our electronic flight bag. This tablet is what the pilots would use in a real kind of modern aircraft to do much of their flight planning and other kind of paperwork. In the bad old days, you'd have all this kind of stuff on paper. Now it's mostly done via tablets and laptops. So straight away, I can click this button here, and I can import the flight that we're going to do from SimBrief, and then we get a summary of all of our information. We're expecting to depart at 1:15. That's in 36 minutes time. So with that in mind, we should get started and get the aircraft ready to board, because it'll take a bit of time to get people on board as well. So let's open the door, and that should result in the jetway connecting. I'll give it a couple of moments. We're also going to open the cargo doors, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to the mass and balance screen. This is where we do our loading of passengers. As per our flight plan, we've got 80 passengers who are going to join us today, and we've got just over 2 tons of cargo that's going to come on board. We're also intending to have 5.7 tons of fuel. There's only 3 tons of fuel in the aircraft right now, so we're going to have to fuel it up as well. I heard dee-doo sounds, so I don't know if that's the jetway. I don't know if these jetways actually work at this airport, so it might be the case that we're not going to get that. Yeah, I don't see any movement out of it, so let's ignore that. Let's imagine the jetway actually works. And now let's go ahead and get the aircraft ready for boarding. So, batteries 1 and 2 on. Confirm that we get illumination on the overhead, and landing gear lights are on. Gear handle down, throttles, idle, and master switches are all off. That's looking pretty good. Okay, at this stage we'll connect the ground power. And the aircraft will momentarily come to life. We're waiting for the caution and warning system to go through its self-test. We'll get some beeps and bongs, and that'll let us know the computers are running. Byron, with reference to the humorous loading messages, birds are dinosaurs, but pterodactyls are not. Oh my. Okay, there we go. Screens are starting to boot up. Bring up the FMGC here. This is our flight management guidance system. We're going to use this to load the flight plans and so on. And on this side, I'll load the ATSU, which is our data link for company messages. Oh, it's complaining my side stick is not centered. Let's get it to accept that. Actually, for now, I'll clear that because my side stick dead zone might not be perfect. There we go. Okay, so that's it. Flight management computer and the warning systems and everything are on. We're going to arm the emergency lights. We're going to turn on the no smoking, turn on the nav lights, turn on the crew oxygen, and let's get the ADIRs aligning. These are the primary navigational systems on board the aircraft. It's GPS, inertial, and an attitude system, all in one unit. So they're booting up now as well. And then let's test the APU fire system. Good test. Okay, APU fire system is working. That means I can feel safe now to actually boot up the APU. So master switch to on, wait 3 seconds, press start, and then we'll monitor the APU start down here. And once I've got the APU, well, actually, while I'm booting up the APU, I'm going to start boarding passengers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the mass and balance here. Choose load aircraft. It's going to take 13 minutes to get the passengers on board. That's fine. We do have option of doing instant or faster, but I'm going to do real-time boarding. So that's now happening. So we're fueling the aircraft, we're loading cargo, and passengers are walking on board now. So 32 minutes. Let's go up here and let's go to our kind of pilot app, and on here we can download all of our flight plan information. So I click here and it's going to automatically import the flight plan from SimBrief, and this is exactly the briefing that we had in SimBrief, so that's looking nice. And we can also get our weather briefing and stuff like that here as well. We can review the NOTAMs. I'm just going to leave it up here on the operational flight plan. I'm going to go to my Navigraph chart application. I'm going to get my charts ready for departure as well. We're going to again import the route from SimBrief, and I can click on the route map, and it's going to show me the route that we're intending to fly today. Taking off in Stockholm, landing in Lulea. And let's go to the departure, and I'm going to bring up my ground charts so I know exactly what I'm doing. So here's my ground chart for Arlanda. It even puts a little GPS icon on it. I'm going to star this so that I can find it more easily later. And do I need any other? Actually, for the departure, this is the only one that I need. So I'll leave this up for now. APU is started and available. We're now going to turn on the APU bleed. That will turn on the air conditioning. Well, the packs to be specific. And that will begin cooling the cabin. And actually, if I bring up my conditioning synoptic, cabin's not too bad right now, actually. Yeah, cabin's at about 20 degrees as it is. That's great. Okay, and we've got the warning saying refueling. That's why I've not turned on the passenger seatbelt signs as yet. Let's go to the company data link menu, and we're going to do a flight initialization. I'm going to pull the data off of the data link, and it should autofill everything. Boop, there we go. We are SK8, ESS8, ESPA with an alternate, estimated time en route, and that's now been transmitted to the company. If I go back to the main menu, I can bring up the received messages, and here we will get messages from the company. And the company has already sent us a telex with our load sheet. I'm going to accept this preliminary load sheet, and that sends them a message letting them know that I've received this. Gives me my zero fuel weight and things like that. That allows me to begin my flight planning, even though we're still actually boarding passengers. Actually, if I go over here, I can monitor how long it's taking to do that. 17 people on board so far, still loading fuel and cargo as well. So that's cool. While that's happening, we're going to get the aircraft programmed. So this is the flight management guidance computer. This actually maintains the flight plan and all the performance calculations. So I'm going to get started initializing this. Alienware PC. Ooh, nice to see you here in MSFS and with the great Fenix. Yes, I agree. It's a very nice aircraft. So we're going to go to initialization, and I'm going to do an initialization request. This again will download our flight plan over the data link. So much of this information we don't need to manually type in because our fantastic dispatchers back at HQ have already programmed so much of it for us. But there is still a bunch of information that as pilots we do need to type in. I need to type in my flight number. I need to type in my cost index. Now the cost index I'm actually going to get from my my briefing, so let's go and have a look at that. Cost index today is 7. The cost index tells the flight computer basically how much fuel we want to burn, like what the balance between speed and economy. Cruising flight level today, what are we cruising at? 0390, that can't be right, that sounds far too high. Am I reading the wrong bit here? Flight level 240. That's the alternate. Right, okay, so what's my actual planned flight level? I always find it difficult to find it in these flight plans. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I can't see it here. I'm going to flip back to the flight plan in 270 actually. That is correct. So okay. So where would I find that on here? Oh, it is here. ESSA 270. Okay, fair enough. So we're going to be flight level 270. That in human terms is 27,000 feet. So I enter that. Gives me a temperature for that altitude. I'm going to clear that message down there. We're just going to check the IRS initialization is proceeding. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to download my winds aloft via the data link as well. That will give the flight computer a bunch of information about what wind speed and direction to expect at each altitude. And that's it. We've got the wind data via uplink now. I can now return. Init page A is now complete. If we go to the flight plan here, we'll find that most of the flight plan has already been entered for us. The thing that's missing is the departure that we're going to fly. I'm actually going to bring this one back for a moment in case we get more messages. So, if I choose our departure airport, which is ESSA, and I choose departure, I can then choose what runway I'm going to use and what departure. That is all in my flight plan again. So if I take a look here and scroll down a bit, we can see that we are expected... Where is this? we're expected to take 19 right, and we're taking the Resna 5G departure. So let's enter that. Let's scroll down a bit. 19 right, and Resna 5G. Insert. And that's it, we've got the full departure procedure there. Once the navigational systems are ready, I'll be able to check that on the flight plan and make sure all looks normal. Yeah, I've got to step up to 390. I saw that, but it looks kind of insane. Like, 390 sounds like it's above my normal maximum, but I guess it could be the case that because of my light loading, I'm capable of that today. Okay, so with that all entered, I can also do my arrival. So let's go to the arrival airport. And for the arrival, I'm expecting runway 14 and a Horizon 5E arrival. So let's choose ILS. That's interesting. ILS Yankee 14, ILS Zulu 14. But you know, I've never seen that before. I'm going to choose the first one, because I don't understand why we have two different ILSs for the same runway. I've never seen that before. And then what was that arrival again? RISMA 5 Echo. So RISMA 5 Echo, and insert. And that is the complete flight plan entered now. So let's go to init, and init has a second page, and this is where we enter the weights. And those weights we can get from our preliminary load sheet, and if we have to, we can revise them later. So zero fuel weight is 52.7 today, so I'm going to enter that, 52.7, and then we also enter, I do a slash, and then we enter the centre of gravity. Do we have a centre of gravity here? Uh, 28.9, so 28.9, and that goes here. And then we've got our block fuel weight. We have a block fuel weight today of 5.8, we'll call that, we'll round it up. So block fuel 5.8, enter that, and if I wait a little while, it's going to populate a bunch of these figures here, and we'll make sure that everything looks normal. Hear that message? Okay, so we can see that we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Final time, so we're basically going to arrive at our destination with a ton of fuel and 30 additional minutes of flight time. That's including the time that it would take to fly to our alternate and to do, I think it's a 30-minute hold. So in actual fact, we've probably got well over an hour of additional fuel on board, which is plenty good. So that's nice. Then we can go to the performance page, and we'll leave the performance page as it is for now. We'll need to do that calculation before takeoff. And you can see here, our navigational systems have booted up, and we can actually see the flight plan on them now. Good, and I'll leave that up in case we get any more messages. Okay, let's see the progress that we're making with the boarding. Most of the passengers are on board. Cargo is on board. Fuel is on board. I guess I've burnt a little bit since we started. That's accounted for anyway. The time with the APU running is accounted for. So let's have a quick look at the overhead, make sure that everything is looking pretty normal. I believe that it is. Yep, that's all looking pretty good. So we're really just waiting for the passengers to finish boarding at this stage. Okay, and yeah, I guess I could set my barometers to the correct pressure setting. And I'm going to set the aircraft for the first altitude. We're normally going to be cleared to 5,000 feet initially. We don't have ATC today, but I'm going to follow that restriction myself. And actually, while I'm waiting for the passengers to finish boarding, let's take a look at the flight plan, because it will now have the flight levels all pre-computed, now that we've told it the weight of the aircraft. Top of climb at 270. Yeah, and then we've got a descent at reset. Okay, that's all looking good. Back to the performance page. Eight more passengers left to come on board. We'll just wait for them just now. And while we're waiting for them, I'm going to bring up the departure calculator. So we're departing ESS A I'm going to sync from my load sheet my preliminary weights. I'm going to choose my runway, which today is 19 right. Runway surface is dry. I want to use whatever is the optimal flap config. We're not going to use toga, no anti-ice. I'll leave the packs on for this takeoff because we're not heavy. And I'm going to synchronize the live weather. We've got 18 knot winds at 230, 90 degrees, and pressure is 1010. Let's calculate those takeoff numbers. Alienware PC, 90% of approaches will be Zulu. Thank you very much. Yankee uses an RNAV to join the approach and requires GPS. The Z uses conventional ground nav aids to join the procedure and requires either DMA or radar vectoring. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for the help. I wasn't familiar with that. Cool. So I've now got some V speeds that I can enter into the system. We've got V1 at 127 knots. That's our decision speed. If we have an engine failure before that speed, we stop on the runway. VR is rotation speed, we're going to rotate at 130, and V2 is our minimum climb speed. So we're normally going to do this plus 15 or something like that. Boarding complete, and they've closed the door. Okay, so let's punch in these numbers. We're also doing a flaps 2 takeoff today. So what did I say again? It's 127, 130, 130. 127 for V1, 130 with rotate, 130 for V2. Transitioning at 5,000, we're doing flaps 2 for our takeoff. Flex is 68 degrees. This is an assumed temperature that we tell the engine management system the air is. So we're pretending that the temperature today at Stockholm is 68 degrees Celsius. Of course it's not, because we'd all be dead. But that basically tells the engines to derate their maximum thrust. And this is done for the life of the engines and also to burn less fuel. We can do that because we've got a nice long runway, so we can pretend that it's really hot outside and that we're going to use less thrust. That's all entered and looking good. So if we go back to our ground services, doors should be all closed. They are. Let's disconnect the GPU. We're on internal power with the APU now anyway. External power off. Let's turn on all of the fuel pumps, ready for engine start. Let's get rid of the GPU and the cones, and let's call the tug to come and give us a pushback. So we're going to get pushed straight back, and I'll see if I can turn it to the right. This tug is actually quite difficult to use. So tug should be connected now. Yep, nose wheel steering has been disconnected, so that's our little message that the tug is now connected. Let's turn on the beacon light, because we would normally do that. Turn on the seatbelt signs, and let's get ready to be pushed back and start the engines. Okay. Oh, I should disengage the parking brake. Parking brake off. Start pushback. Okay, and clear on the left and clear on the right. Let's put ignition system to ignition start and start engine 2. Yeah, we need to start a turn now, I guess. Let's see if I can get this to work. It's the wrong way. There we go. Should bring us around nicely. You hear the engine spooling up. From here I can probably push straight back a little bit. And let's start engine 1. Okay, let's stop. Parking brake goes on. Let's tell the tug to go away. And we just wait for engine 1 to finish spooling up. Oh, I didn't even think to check my departure time. Are we early? We're probably early. Oh, okay, we're at departing status. Yeah, we're actually departing about 15 minutes early, so there you go. How good is this airline? Okay, engine 1 start is complete. Should have the available... Did I miss the available message? I probably did. With the start complete, we're going to put the mode selector back into normal. Just like that. We're going to turn off the APU bleed, because we can now run the engines... run the bleed system on the engines. Strobes to automatic. Nose to taxi. Do I need to do anything else right now? No, I think the overhead is set. We're going to set our takeoff flaps, so flaps 2 today. Make sure that rudder is zeroed. And in the real world, we would have gotten a squawk code. So just imagine that I've entered that, and I've put my transponder into automatic, and we would set it to TA and RA modes and above for priority. So I'm doing that. Oh, and here we go. We've got another message from the company. This is the final load sheet. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to accept this, and I'm also going to verify that these numbers match what I have in the init page. So we have programmed 52.7. The final was 52.8, and that's really not a big deal. I don't really care about that difference. We're within a set number of percentage points, and we're actually 29 or the centre of gravity instead of 28.9. That's really not a problem. Let's go back and let's make sure that we set our trim correctly. So for a CG of 29, we want the pointer to be kind of down here. That's about where we want the trim to be set. Cool, let's reset our view and get ready to go. Right, I need my charts so I can figure out where the hell I'm going. I need runway 19er right. So let's zoom in a little bit here and get a good look at the ground chart. So 19er right is here. We are here. I'm going to need to go forwards onto X-ray and turn right. And I'm going to, turn left, and I'm going to turn right onto Papa Alpha, and I'm going to take Yankee all the way to the end. So nice and simple. So let's begin taxi. Actually, before I begin taxi, let's get another look at the chat. Welcome to Stream Horst. I don't know what you mean. Rearm some oh, okay, missiles. Ah, okay. I thought you were giving me genuine advice, sir. No, we don't need any R3s for today's flight. No missiles involved. Also, I'll set the pressure on the backup instrument just to be safe. Okay, so park and brake off. Let's give it just a touch of throttle, and let's make our way. And while we're taxiing, we're going to arm the ground spoilers and set the auto brake to maximum for a rejected takeoff. Speed is fine for taxi. We're going to go up to this taxiway and turn left. Oh, you were watching my MiG-21 video before. Okay, that makes sense. So, how about this chat, or passengers, as I should say. This is your captain speaking. We're departing 10 minutes early. You can thank me later. So we can see on the sign here, right turn for Papa Alpha. That's what we're going to take. Yes, normally I would be flying on VATSIM. I'm not bothering with VATSIM today because of the time of day. There are almost no controllers online. But yes, normally I would always fly on VATSIM because it's a good laugh. Okay, we're going to turn right onto Papa Alpha here, and then we're going to take Yankee all the way to the end. and that will get us to the holding point for runway 19 right, here at Arlanda. Your laugh is awesome. Thank you very much, sir. I do try. I do try. Yeah, I've got all my graphics turned to low, by the way, so this might not look quite as beautiful as you're used to seeing MSFS. My PC is not the latest and greatest, although I hope to be upgrading it at some point soon, and the Fenix A320 is a very detailed simulation, and as such it needs a bit of horsepower. Okay, while we're taxiing out, now that we're away from the terminal, I'm going to turn on the weather radar. Sadly, it's not simulated in MSFS as yet. It's not a Fenix limitation, it's actually an MSFS limitation, although I believe weather radars are coming with update 10 to MSFS, so we will have weather radars soon, just not yet. But I go through the procedure and I turn it on anyway. Oh, also, I forgot to start my ET. I was supposed to start that before taxi. So we consider that to be the kind of gate-to-gate timer, and then I use the chronograph on the navigation display as my flight timer. So we're on our way out to the runway. It's just up ahead here, almost there. Everything looks pretty normal. We can turn off the APU now. It'll have had time to cool down. Okay, let's just assume that we've received takeoff clearance. There is no air traffic control and there is no other traffic today. Normally I would hold here, but yeah, we're going to assume everything's okay and get lined up on the runway. So strobes on and takeoff lights on. Get it nicely lined up on the centre line here. Runway 19 right, confirmed. And let's just stop it on the brakes here. Okay, we're in position, we're ready to rumble. Let's do a quick check of the overhead. Strobes, beacon lights, nav lights, takeoff lights, seatbelt signs are on. I'm leaving PAX on because we're doing a PAX on takeoff. Let's go down to the ECAM. Let's do a takeoff config check. I have takeoff config normal, but I do have a status page. Let's look at the status page. It's complaining about my side stick. We'll not worry too much about that right now. That is just the fact that my side stick doesn't have a very good centre. We've got 5,000 set in the box. I think we are ready for takeoff. So, we're on the brakes. Let's run it up to 50%. Engines are stable, off the brakes, and let's put it in not toga, we want flex, manual flex. Flex is set, SRS and nav are boxed. Okay, 100 knots, I can release the stick. V1, rotate. It's a little bit of a wind here. It's okay, we've got a handle on it. Okay, we have positive rate, gear coming up. And we're after F speed, so let's go flaps 1 and turn on autopilot 1. Okay, lever should be in climb. Climb set. Ground spoilers can go off, and as we pass slats speed we can go flaps 0. Lap 0. Okay, and nose wheel light can come off. And we're beginning our first turn. We'll get 5,000 in no time. Oh, and I forgot my chrono. Haha. Stockholm, or well, actually, over the north of the city. Here we're approaching 5,000. Let's assume that we've been cleared to continue. So I'm going to set flight level 270 in the box and push it, and it will now continue its climb on profile. QNH, let's pull for QNH. Standard pressure, oops. And set it on the backup instrument as well. Very fast takeoff today. Yeah, we're in climb now. Everything looks to be in normal positions. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have. I'm very happy to answer questions about the module or about any procedures that I'm doing. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not a qualified commercial pilot, so this is my best attempt at doing something realistic looking. There may well be incorrect procedures and so on here and there, so this is not for flight training, as they often say. Passing flight level 100, landing lights can come off. And I'm also going to turn off the seatbelt signs. You may now walk around the cabin. And while we're in the climb, let's think about our arrival, although it's a good wee while before we get there. So let's go down to our data link and let's make a weather request. And we're interested in ESPA, which is Lulea, and I would like a METAR, which is the current weather. Send that request, and that should reach us fairly shortly. There we go, weather data just arrived. And we now have the current weather for ESPA. Cab OK, and winds 12 knots from 180. So, weather is pretty much the same as it is here in Stockholm. The system still complaining about my stick. Can I clear that? Oh yeah, there we go. Did that clear it? No. It's still complaining that my stick is in on. It's working fine, just isn't perfectly centered. Oh, speed. That should be managed. I don't know why it wasn't. I'll probably hit that at some point. Turn down the aircraft audio very well, very well. Actually, I can do that from OBS. Okay, I've now reduced the volume of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hopefully that is easier to work with. Let me know if it's too quiet now. So, we're still in the climb. And we can monitor the progress of our flight by looking at the route map here. Excellent. Glad you can all hear me now. Oh, one other thing to note, everybody, is that I actually have engaged failures, randomized failures, but I've left the time to failure at the realistic setting. It should be the case that there are no failures during the course of this flight, but you never know. And it could be anything, so I've got everything enabled, so who knows. This flight might become slightly more exciting than we were hoping. So where did it say my step up was again? Let's go and have a look at my briefing. At Lapix, we're going to step up to 390. I've never flown that high in the A320. Is it even capable of that? Let's see. In the cruise. Normally there's a page, I forget exactly where. Oh yeah, our maximum today is 398, so yeah, we can fly at 390. I'm actually getting an optimal of 380, but yeah, I guess we can just follow the flight plan. If it says it can do it, then it can do it, I guess. So we're supposed to step up at Lapix. Where was Lapix? Did I already pass that? Oh no, here we go, here's Lapix. Right, that's fair enough. Lapix. So I wonder, can I monitor that in my progress page? If I go Lapix, I always wonder how much of this kind of rare stuff they actually model. There we go, that is fantastic. So here we go. Now in my standard progress page, I can monitor my distance to Lapix, and then I'll know when it is I'm supposed to do my step up. Ah, Fenix, well done. You've got all the best features simulated in this aircraft. And I do really like this Navigraph app that they've got built in as well. Sadly, it requires a subscription, but with the subscription you get all the charts, and this kind of really cool integration with the EFB, which is nice. So yeah, chat, go ahead if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. We're just about into the cruise now. It is unfortunate that the weather radar is not modelled. But yeah, that's not Fenix's fault. Everything's looking pretty normal in the overhead. Let's just take a quick peek at the fuel state. Yep. Center tanks are empty, but we've got fuel in the wings, total of 4.7 right now. And yeah, all of these synoptics work, which is nice. You can double check how everything is doing. Cabin is nice and cozy. Engines are looking normal. And yeah, on the status page, I've just got my side stick not working. This is leveling off at our initial cruise altitude of 270. How close is Lapix to the close of top of descent? That's a very good question. We should get that information once we're in the cruise. Because it's normally going to give you the time to the top of descent. But I forget which page. Here we go. Okay, so top of descent is in 265 nautical miles. Lapix is in 231. So yeah, it's pretty much pointless, isn't it, doing the step up? Yeah, I don't think we're going to bother doing that. So what we'll do is we'll do the step up now. I imagine in the real world there is some kind of a restriction there, but we're not in the real world. So we're doing our step up to flight level 390 now. And that will officially be the highest I've ever been in an A320 in the simulator. So yeah, then once we're at flight level 3900, when is our top of descent? Yeah, it's going to come forwards, isn't it? So we're going to be way closer to the top of descent than we would have been otherwise. But it does mean we can spend quite a long time close to idle, so it's probably overall good for the fuel consumption. Oh, Alienware. He's asking me questions that I don't know the answer to. Do you know why the green hydraulic level is lower than the nominal value? Okay, give me one moment, let me have a little look around and see if I can guess, because I actually don't know that. Let's have a little look. So green system is here, blue and yellow systems are here. Why would the value be lower? I'm gonna have an absolute guess here. I'm going to say it's because the gear is up. Can you tell me if I'm right or wrong? Does some of that hydraulic fluid get kind of locked away in a different part of the system when the gear is up? You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I honestly have not a clue. Nice view from the outside there. Oh my god! So that's correct, it's because of the undercarriage. Okay, that was a pure guess. I actually had no idea. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. A not so educated guess. Yeah, because the green system is used for the gear, right? Passing flight level 300. I guess I should check when my next restriction is, because there'll be a point at which I need to be lower than I am now. Where's my first restriction in this flight plan? Oh, there isn't any until I begin top of descent. Okay, that's fine. First restriction is... yeah, basically as I join the arrival for that runway, so that's totally fine. Don't need to worry too much about that then. How much does the pilot seat of an Airbus A320 cost? Well, given that it has full electrical adjustment, and look at all the adjustments on an Airbus seat. It's pretty advanced. You've got full adjustment of the headrest. You've got 2 armrests. It's fully electrically operated. This has to be... right. I'm going to go in pounds, because pounds are what I understand. How about £5,000 for this seat? And I'm almost certainly going to be wrong. But let's say £5,000. Thank you for the quiz, Alienware PC. You're making my stream way more interesting than it would have otherwise been. So, still in the climb. Ooh, Frantic Stone going for £20,000. £250,000. Wow. Okay. And there's 2 of them. I'm guessing the jump seat is not as expensive. Oh, I never closed the door. People have been watching me the whole time. Oh, that's really cool. You can fold away the little door camera. There's a lot of detail in this cockpit. You can make use of the sunshade, and it actually works. You can see here I can see through the sunshade when it's really bright like it is right now. The side shades work as well, but I can't get to them right now because the EFB's in the way. Well, I should make sure my charts for the arrival are ready. I want this one? Yeah, I want this one. There we go. Okay, we're almost at cruising altitude now. Okay, and actually it's telling us that at our arrival we will still have just over 3 tons of fuel on board, which is pretty impressive. Yes, please, Alienware PC. Yeah, carry on. This is a bit of fun. And chat, feel free to get involved. This is not necessarily just a quiz for me. You should all have a go. Creeping up towards flight level 390. Perhaps one day in the future I'll do a full VATSIM flight as well, because then you'll get to see how we talk to air traffic control, but also maybe, if we're very lucky, I can find a controller who's actually using the data link, because the data link, I think it's called the CPDL or something like that, but this is a data link. It is fully implemented. We have full ACARs in this aircraft, and it would allow us to make requests with air traffic control. And we can sign into an air traffic control station using the CDU. If I go all the way back to ATSU and I go to the ATC menu, we have the ability to make requests and to make reports and all that kind of stuff. So I could actually connect with a particular air traffic control station and make requests to either change my altitude, change my speed, go direct to a particular place, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah. And these are called the DCDU. So when it says transfer to the DCDU, it means push that information up to this screen so that you can communicate with air traffic control using this, rather than having to use up one of the MCDUs. So, yeah, there you go. That's a cool thing that's implemented in the sim. What plane would you say the A320 landing gear is based on? Okay, we need to keep in mind that the A320 is from the 1980s, so what was flying around in the 80s that would be a good match for it? I'm going to go for a complete guess, and I'm going to say that it's based on the Tornado, the Panavia Tornado. But that's an absolute guess. I have not a clue what it would be. Aye, aye, aye. Little drink there, keep me going. Just coming up on our cruise. Ooh, TU-227. Interesting. Interesting choice, Frantic Stone. Caravel. Okay, interesting. I already said tornado, Frantic. I said Panavia tornado. Concorde. Okay, I would never have guessed that. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, here we go. We are at top of cruise. So, how long are we in the cruise for? 100 miles. Another 100 miles, and then we'll begin our descent. And what would be the first altitude that I should set? What are we doing next in the flight plan? I should probably set 110, I would say. So let's get 110 in the box, but not press the button yet. There, ready to go. And the aircraft will continue to fly the cruise until I push in the altitude selector. So, chat, if you're just joining the stream now, we're doing a flight in the Fenix A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and this is between Stockholm Arlanda and Lulea in the north of Sweden. And this is simulating an actual regular SAS flight. So we're call sign Scandinavian 8 today, on our way to Lulea. What's our estimated time of arrival? We're local time, well, actually that's UTC, 13:31. We're expecting to arrive at 14:14, so another 45 minutes or so. Excellent. Let's see how that matches with the planned duration. Okay, so that's us actually arriving a little bit early, but that's fine by me. Yep, 10 knot wind, 190. And we're approaching halfway there. Let's see if I can do a good landing once we get there. Also just going to quickly check what configuration I put into the aircraft for failures, because I'm pretty sure I did the realistic. Yeah, all failures, realistic rate. There you go. So hopefully nothing happens, but it could. It could happen. Now just checking to see if there have been any failures that I haven't noticed as yet, but no, nothing at all. Yes, you're quite right, Byron. I got off the ground about 10 minutes early, and then I'm only arriving about 5 minutes early, so I'm clearly doing something wrong. I'm assuming something about my climb has actually set off my route time, made it a little bit wrong. So let me know, chat, if you have any questions or if you want anything demonstrated in the aircraft. As long as it doesn't take us out of the air, I'm happy to show you things that the aircraft can do. Yep, pretty much everything systems-wise is modelled, with the exception of the weather radar. And it's a very nice model as well, I think. showcase mode is not actually all that exciting. I thought I'd try it out. Price of a single Michelin tire for the Airbus A320. Chat, go. I'm gonna reserve my my guess. I'll let you guys go first this time. Byron going £5,000. How much does it cost a single tap of the brakes? Single tire. I feel like it can't be as much as 5,000 for each one. I'm going to go 2,000. £2,000 for a single Michelin tire for the Airbus A320. Wow. At this altitude, look at the speed tape. This is the no exceed speed, the red barber pole. And this amber area is where the angle of attack becomes too high and you're in danger of stalling the aircraft. It's actually when some of the autopilot safety features kick in automatically. So that's kind of between, what, 250 knots and 210 knots, let's say? So you have a 40 knot window that you can fly the aircraft safely at this massive altitude. Of course, normally these two features will be very, very far apart on the speed tape, but we're right on the edge of what the aircraft can do altitude-wise. Okay, well done, Byron. Spot on. Good guess. Okay, 47 miles to go to top a descent. I normally like to begin my descent 10 miles before the planned descent, so that I kind of start and then intercept the profile. So we're going to wait until about 10 miles. Then we'll start coming down from this ridiculously high altitude. It's funny because we're only kind of halfway along the route, so at this altitude it's at the halfway point that we start to descend. It's going to take us so long to get down from up here. Single tap of the brakes is $50. I guess that's why the brakes are automatic. That's why we use auto brake. You can't trust a human being to be accurate or gentle enough. Yeah, I guess you shouldn't be trying to Tokyo drift this thing. Due to the tires or the brakes. Oh, and actually this version of the aircraft has the brake fans related to that installed. It actually varies based on what livery you have installed. It's kind of a cool feature of the Fenix A320. So the options like the brake fans, the digital... That was a clunk. Why was there a clunk? Did you guys hear that? Did anyone else hear the clunk sound? I feel like a circuit breaker just popped. I did turn on the failures, didn't I? So, what just popped? Nothing on the back panel. I might just be imagining it, but I'm pretty sure I heard a circuit breaker go. I'm not seeing anything on the overhead either. Okay, let's give it a moment. Most of the circuit breakers are monitored by the ECAM, although they don't kind of pop up immediately, so after a period of time we might get a message here on the ECAM. But anyway, as I was saying, the Fenix A320, it does simulate airline options, and so things like the brake fans, they're optional extras. This particular airline, Scandinavian, has them. Also, Scandinavian is using the electronic backup instrument. Some airlines have got the mechanical one. If you have the mechanical one, then you have a mechanical airspeed and altitude indicator here as well. This navigational instrument, this backup navigational instrument, is also an option, but Scandinavian carries it. And then you can also have the metric altimeter. That's very, very few airlines would have that. Byron says he didn't hear a clunk. I heard a clunk, but I don't know what it was. And there are no warnings, so I can only assume it's nothing important. Let's check here. Let's cheat and look. Oh wait, no. I want to be here. Nope, no failures. Okay, maybe I was imagining it. I thought I heard something. But the simulator says there are no failures. Okay, so we're approaching our alternate airfield now. We're getting quite close to Umeå. Top of descent is 17 miles. Miles. Yeah, it won't be too much longer now. You see we're approaching the coast again here. So for this flight we cut this corner across this big, I don't know what you would call it exactly, this bit of sea here, and we go straight to the coast further north. So yeah, we'll be passing just about overhead Umeå. That's why it's such a good selection for an alternate. If we had any kind of a problem, we could do a spiral descent down to there and safely land. Okay, 4 miles to top of descent. Let's go ahead and push the button. So I've got flight level 110 in the box. Push. And the aircraft will begin an automated descent. Although it will look to intercept the profile, the flight profile that we have. Okay, it's now prompting me to enter the destination data. So, let's go ahead and grab that weather data. Actually, let's get an updated weather report, because it might be out of date by now. So, let's go back here. And we're going to go weather request, and it's Echo, Sierra, Papa, Alpha, METAR, send. And let's check that message. And we've got an updated weather data. Here we go. Okay. Weather hasn't particularly changed, so we now need to enter our arrival data into the flight management guidance computer. So we're going to go performance, next phase, and approach. We need to enter this approach information. So QNH 1003 in. Temperature at arrival is 16 degrees. Wind 190 and 10. It has changed since takeoff. That's in. Transitioning at 5,000, that's correct. We're going to get an approach speed of 130. We're going to do a full landing config, and I'm going to set my decision height at 100 feet on the radar altimeter. And that's it. That's just got all the information entered that we need. And the aircraft is now in a managed descent. So that this will try to match the descent profile. The descent profile is shown on the altitude tape as this green circle. So you can see we're right on the profile. We're descending at exactly the speed the flight plan called for. So that's cool. We also have the option of pulling the altitude knob. For almost all of these knobs, you can push in or pull it towards yourself. And this is symbolic. Pushing the the knob in is giving control to the flight computer. Pulling it out is taking manual control. Just so you know. So when you've got dashes and a dot like this, that means it's in control of the flight management guidance computer. And when it has numbers, those are of course manual overrides. So I've manually overridden the altitude that I want to fly at, but it still has a dot because it's being managed to reach that altitude by the flight management guidance computer using the flight plan as calculated. Ah, Byron, Gulf of Bothnia. Yeah, actually, I've heard of that. I didn't realise that's what it was, so thank you for that. So we've crossed the Gulf of Bothnia, we're overhead Umeå, and we're in the descent for Lulea. We just passed flight level 350 on the way down. So, as we're in the descent, I should have actually changed my TCAS system to give priority to below. I should have also had it on all while I was in the cruise, but anyway. And I would also tilt my weather radar down like that, even though the weather radar doesn't work yet. So on the way down, and engines are at idle on the way down here. And not a lot to do now until we pass flight level 100, or 10,000 feet. That's when we should start our preparations for the landing. So chat, feel free to ask questions, as I said before, make comments, tell me if you like this kind of content. I normally of course do the DCS tutorials and the DCS news. This is something a little bit different. I do really enjoy flying Airbuses actually in particular, but I enjoy kind of civilian flight simulation as well. I would normally do it online. I'm just doing it like this today because of the time of day. There aren't really many controllers online right now, so it would be kind of pointless doing this on VATSIM right now. But yeah, I normally prefer to fly on VATSIM, so I could do that for you all at a later date, perhaps a little bit later in the day. But yeah, feel free to hit me up on the chat, I am monitoring. And I guess, you know, just for completeness, I should do the arrival calculator. Although, to be honest, at an airfield like this, it's barely necessary because these runways are so long. But yeah, we're going to be ESPA. We're taking runway 14. The condition is dry, as far as I'm aware. I'm going to refresh the METAR and apply it for our calculations. We're doing flaps full landing. Landing weight. Right, it needs to know my landing weight. What will my landing weight be? Where do I find the landing weight, actually? Huh. That I don't remember. Is it the second init page? Huh. You know, I cannot remember where you get the landing weight from. There you go, shows you what I know. Data. Aircraft status. No, it's none of this. Huh. There you go. I cannot remember where you get the landing weight from. I tell you what, it's probably in the load sheet, isn't it? Let's go and have a look at the load sheet. So we got takeoff weight there. Yeah, I'm going to make a fool of myself here, and I don't actually know where to get the landing weight. Let's go and look at the original flight plan, see if it was in there somewhere. Oh, of course. Yeah, I can calculate that myself. How foolish of me. Yeah, you're quite right. Yeah, I could take the 0 fuel weight and then add the weight that'll be left. We're going to have 3 tons of fuel or so on arrival, so that's going to make it... it's going to make it about 55.8. Okay, let's go with that. 55.8 for the arrival. 55.8, enter, and we get a calculation. So yeah, landing is going to take 1,906 meters. So we have available 3.3 kilometers basically. We're going to need just under 2 kilometers. So that's plenty. So that's what you do. You do this little calculation to ensure you can actually land on the given runway. We have plenty of room. Thank you very much, Alienware PC. You're clearly better at reading these things than I am. I didn't see exactly where that was, but that's about correct. So in any case, we have plenty of runway available. Let's go back to my charts. And you can see we're just about there now. Almost time to begin my arrival procedure. Okay, so we're going to be landing on runway 14. That means we're landing in this direction. So if at all possible, I'm going to want to make use of the high-speed exit Alpha 5, and that will get me onto Alpha. Cool. Because everything on the south side is the military part of the airfield. We don't want to be using that. So yeah, runway 14, coming off at Alpha 5, if at all possible. Okay, passing flight level 250 now. Just passing through this higher cloud layer. Gonna check the overhead and make sure there's nothing funky going on up here, but it all looks pretty normal. And no ECAM messages with the exception of it's still complaining about my side stick. Oh, frantic. You silly boy. It just shows how, how eager you are, which is good. It's good that you're eager to do your flying. The day will come, sir. Don't you worry. The day will come. So, not all that much to do here. We're just waiting for the descent to complete and for us to join the arrival. We can even quickly review that arrival, if you like. So if I put the navigation display into plan mode, and I go to flight plan, I can actually cycle through it bit by bit. Let's get that zoom all the way down so we can get a good look at this. So we're starting off with RISM, which is the start of the procedure. We then hit speed limit of 250, make a left, make a right, and we join the ILS and then we land. So really there's not that much to it. But that's it. We can actually fully brief the procedure using the plan mode here. Let's pop it back into ARC and set a sensible range. We should also note what the go-around altitude is as well. Yeah, let's go and have a little look at the procedure actually for this arrival. Here we go, here's RISM. So So, for the RISM arrival, we're expected to climb to 2,100. That's our go-around. Cool. Okay, it's good to be able to keep that in mind. Because I'll set the aircraft up for the go-around just in case something happens. I seriously doubt it will. That's us in the cloud layer now on the way down. Yep, you're back in time, Frantic, to tell me how good or bad I am at doing my landing. I've got this short throw Cytec X55 stick, which is not very good, to be honest. And also my frames in MSFS tend to not be that good, so I'm going to use these excuses now, get them in early. My landing might not be amazing, but let's give it a chance, see what happens. It'll be interesting at least, whatever happens. So probably not that long to go now. We're pretty close to landing. What does the flight plan say? Yeah, we're still expected to actually make it at 14:51. Current time is 13:55. That doesn't seem right at all. Oh, so we were planned to depart at 13:15. I actually departed at 12:57. We're supposed to arrive at 14:55. It expects that I'm actually going to arrive at 14:51. That doesn't sound correct at all. That would be in an hour's time. And there's no way this is going to take another hour, so I suspect my times are completely off. Flight computer says that I'm going to arrive at 14:15, which would be in about 20 minutes. Yeah, that sounds more like it. We'll be on the ground in about 20 minutes. Thank you very much, Byron. I hope you enjoyed this much of the stream. So this is the point that you usually would make an announcement to the passengers, let them know, okay, you know, we're on our approach to Lulea. The weather looks pretty much the same as Stockholm, just slightly colder, and we'll be on the ground in about 20 minutes. Cabin crew, make preparations. Passing flight level 180. So I'm actually going to continue the descent down to 5,000. I think that's the next altitude in the flight plan, and push it in just to make sure that it's maintaining that profile. And if I take another little look at this flight plan, yeah, we're going to intercept the ILS at 3... Oh, it's telling me my go-around is 3,100. Is that right? Okay, I thought it was 2,100. Anyway, and yeah, we intercept the ILS at about 2,100. So in actual fact, maybe I'll set it all the way down to that now, because we don't have an air traffic control, so nobody's going to tell us to do otherwise. Altitude 2,100 is set, and you can see it confirmed here in the altitude side of the pilot's flight display. And we're right on profile, we're right on the green dot. Zulu time, I'm +2 local for Zulu time, Dot Chuckles, so I don't know. All very confusing. I've almost certainly done something wrong, because I'm gonna land about half an hour before it says I should on here, but maybe I'm just that good. Also, that might be gate to gate time. Yeah, is it Thrustmaster who makes that thing? It looks really, really nice. I actually fancy having a set. I'm probably going to sell this X55 and replace it with the Airbus gear, because it looks nice. So, yeah, not a huge amount to do right now. Let's at least bring up my... Oops, wrong button. Let's bring up my checklist. And now that I've set an altitude below the transition, I should actually set my altimeter. So let's take a little look. What did we have for the weather data there? 1004. Let's set that. And on first officer side, and just for completeness, let's do the backup instrument as well. There, all set. Ah, yes, yeah, Dot chuckles. You just caught me. You just caught me. You're absolutely right. I should have pulled my altimeter. I've done that now. How much did you guys pay, Frantic and Dot Chuckles? How much did you pay for your Airbus kit? Whatever it is, it's almost certainly like double the price here in Sweden, but still, just to give me a guide. Okie dokie, just about to pass Rissem now. Robert, how's the A320? I think it's very, very good. As far as the systems simulation and the fly-by-wire simulation go in particular, this is the best I've ever seen. And I'm a massive A320 fan. I've flown pretty much every single Airbus that you can get on X-Plane and on previous incarnations of Microsoft Flight Simulator. This one is definitely the best I've experienced. £220. Okay, that seems reasonable. Yeah, that seems reasonable. I'll almost certainly pay a bit more than that here, but yeah, I think it'd be a worthwhile investment. So yeah, Robert, in short, I would say the Fenix is absolutely worth it. And the thing is, it's not even complete yet. We're getting a second engine option, and we're also getting sharklets as an option as well. So I like it very much. And I don't know for sure, but I would assume we're getting a simulation of the weather radar once weather radars are included in Microsoft Flight Simulator Update 10, which is coming in August. So at that stage, we'll have basically everything. Yes, I heard about that. So yeah, the fly-by-wire comes from a you know, a very well-respected kind of industry developer who does this kind of thing for the real sims. So pretty cool. Okay, that's us beginning our arrival at Lulea, passing flight level 100 any moment now, and then I'll begin getting the aircraft configured. Okay, throttling up a little bit now. Below 10,000 feet, we're going to go landing lights on. Just like that. Seatbelt signs on. And when are we expecting to be on the ground? 14:15. Yeah, be on the ground in about 10 minutes. And we're still right on profile there. Yes, indeed. Make sure everyone turns off their laptops. I'm going to wait until I make the right-hand turn before I enable the approach phase, because I don't want to have to slow down too much. In fact, I'm gonna pretend. Oh, actually, wait. Is that an altitude restriction I've got here? Have I messed up? No. Oh, it's a speed restriction, 250. Weird. That's showing up as 2,500, but it actually should be 250. Oh well, that's maybe a bug. So what was I going to say again? Yeah, actually what I might do is I might simulate us being cleared for a high speed approach. So I'm going to pull on the speed and I'm going to, oops, I'm going to pull it up to 240 knots. Because we don't want to hang around. Yes, the landing calculator is really cool. Okay, so I've manually overridden the speed here. We're going to continue the approach at 240. I'll then enter the approach phase as I'm rounding the corner, and I'll bring the speed down to about 180. That's something fairly close to what ATC would tend to give you anyway. So I'm overriding things just very slightly. Okay, coming round the curve now. Gonna turn on the landing system, make sure I've got symbology, which I do. Okay, coming around the corner. Welcome to northern Sweden. Okay, passing 5,000. Overhead looks normal. Got the status message, but that's almost certainly still my side stick. Yeah. Now, for this, I've actually not done it before, but for this landing, I've actually mapped the autopilot off push button for my side stick, so I'm going to see if that works. So hopefully it does just disengage with the chirp instead of doing the alarm, which of course the incorrect method would trigger. Okay, so I think about here, I'm going to go approach phase activated. I'm going to give control of the speed back to the flight management system. Well, actually, that's setting it... No, that's setting it to 130. That's too low. Let's actually go 180 for now. We don't want to be going that slow just yet. There. Just like that. I'm going to arm localizer. I'm going to go flaps 1. Ah, self-loading cargo. Okay, that's a good shout. I've not used that myself. Okay, so we're at flaps 1. Speed is still coming down. Once we've got the glide slope above and we've made the corner, I will engage approach mode. Okay, it's picked up localizer. Okay, just about on speed. Let's arm approach mode. Let's go next stage of flaps. And we're rolled out on runway heading. And we've got flaps 2 set. Well, I've got a manual speed set. I want to go a little bit faster until I'm closer inbound, and then I'm going to bring the speed back down. So I'm doing a kind of cleared for high speed, basically, style approach just now. But I think that'll do it. Let's put it back to dot. Let's go gear down. We've got glide slope and localizer captured. Gear is down, signs are on, spoilers armed. Let's go lights on. Next stage of flaps. We're going to set auto brake to low for this particular landing, and let's go flaps full. And we are fully established and fully configured. Got a bit of a crosswind, but it's well within limits. Okay, I'm now going to set altitude for the go-around, which was 3,100. And we are ready to land. I'm going to let the autopilot take me down to 500 feet, and then I'm going to disengage and hand fly. Oh, Robert's calling me out. Okay, Robert, give me a sec. Give me one moment to get set up. Chirpy, chirpy, chirpy. Okay, hand flying now. hand on side stick and throttle. I'm now not going to be watching chat. 1000. Yeah, it's a little bit gusty, a little bit of a side crosswind, but very controllable, I think. Coming down nicely. Now you can see the variations in the engines there as it's controlling my descent. And for this landing, I'm going to do idle reverse. We're not going to do full reverse on this, because the runway's a decent length, I think. This kind of a view on approach is very familiar to anyone who's ever flown to any Swedish airport. They all kind of look like this. Little clearing surrounded by trees.
Above.
100 above, we're going to continue.
Minimum.
Okay, continuing.
Light slope.
40. 20. Retard.
Okay, retarded the throttles.
10.
Oh, I've maybe floated it a little bit. We're down, on the ground. Reverser's on. I'm actually going to give it a little bit of reverse. And idle. Out of reverse. And there you go. We had plenty of runway. Gonna give it just a dab of the brakes to make the auto brakes go off. And we're going to make the high-speed exit on the left. There we go. We're at a sensible speed now for leaving the runway. Let's get over the line, and I'll get the aircraft set up for the taxi. So, did I get a round of applause for that one? Was that acceptable? Okay, I'm going to stop the aircraft about here. And we're going to go flaps fully up. Disengage the spoilers. Radar can go off. And TCAS can go off. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. Start the APU. Strobe can go off. And I think we're good to continue. Wonky on the lateral. Yeah, I'm going to blame the stick. It's not the greatest stick in the world. So let's make our way to the apron and get shut down. Oh, APU's coming up. Yeah, the turbulence was good. I thought it was very believable. I can kind of imagine those rotors coming off the tops of the trees. So, you know, maybe I'm imagining it, or maybe it's real, but it felt pretty good. I think it was fairly accurate. APU took quite a long time to come up there. I don't know why that was, but it's up now. And let's stop the chrono. That was 1 hour and 9 minutes. Let's have a little look here and see what our app says. Yeah, we're good on the arrival time. Well, you can rewind a little bit, Byron, if you want to take a look. But Dot, I deserved a little round of applause. Surely we can make a, you know, make an exception for my landings. Okay, this is quite a small airport. You have to be careful about how I taxi around here. I wonder if that was even the correct exit. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have taken that exit. Do I even have clearance to get round here? Oh yeah, I do. Just. I like that the centre line for this taxiway is offset so that Airbuses and so on can make it. Okay, this baggage handler has a death wish. Or, I guess that's actually a forklift. So, we're going to pop it in second gate on the right here. Why not? So, we're going to go taxi light off, so I don't blind anyone. In we go. Okay, and for some reason this van is blocking my way, but I'll let him take priority. He can sit in front of us. So, parking brake is on. And let's go engine 1, engine 2 off. Let's pop on the APU bleeds. Seatbelt signs off. And beacon can come off. Okay. Commence deboarding. Yes, let's commence deboarding. Open the door. We're going to get stairs because we're quite far away. And we'll open the cargoes. And let's connect the ground power. And I'm going to assume this is, well, I'm going to pretend this is the last flight of the day, so we're going to go ADIRS off. Crew oxygen off. And I'll leave the rest of it right now while we're deboarding. We should also get a little message. Yeah, there we go, company message showing up. So let's go and have a little look at that. They should confirm our arrival. Received messages. Arrival message. Yay! Actual time of arrival 14:21. And what we were originally planned for, I don't remember. Original plan called for 14:55. So, okay, yeah, massively early. But hey, you know, early is good, right? So let's quickly go over the checklist, make sure I've not forgotten anything. External lights set, flaps 0, ground spoilers disarmed, APU I've started, weather radar is off, TCAS went to standby. If engine 2 shut down, yellow electric pump. We didn't taxi with an engine shutdown, so we're fine. Thank you very much, Robert. That's very kind of you to say so, sir. I do try my best. So I'm going to allow that deboarding to occur, and then I will do a complete shutdown of the aircraft, and that will conclude this flight. I hope that you all enjoyed this little jaunt from Stockholm Arlanda to Lulea, and I hope it wasn't too boring. Too boring, sorry. Actually, the passengers are all off already. There you go. So we're sitting on the stand here with the cones out and the GPU out. Oh, and I put the stairs on the back. so apparently the passengers all jumped. I put the wrong stairs out. What a numpty. Okie dokie. Well, let's forget that I did that, and let's go ahead and do a complete shutdown of the aircraft now, shall we? So all of the switches and whatnot are in the correct place. Parking brake is set. The chocks are in. I can actually release the parking brake now. Let's disarm the signs. Turn off the smoking. Turn off the APU bleed. Off with the nav lights. We can turn off fuel pumps. All off. Let's turn off the APU. We don't need that now. Yeah, all the overheads are correctly off. I can stop my little timer here. We were at 1 minute 19 gate to gate, which I think is pretty acceptable. Let's completely turn off the transponder. Radar was already off. Let's reset the pages. Let's get stairs against the correct part of the aircraft. Who did I grab? Oh, I grabbed aft stairs. Oh dear, oh dear. So that we can actually get out of the aircraft. Okay, disconnecting ground power. Oh, I guess the APU is still running. The APU must be in its cooldown. We'll wait for the APU to shut off. Just woke up. What did I miss? Asks Tog. Yes. Well done me on attaching the wrong stairs to the aircraft. I'm just going to wait. I've got the master switch off for the APU, so it should shut down once it's gone through its cooldown cycle, which it looks like it's near the end of now. And then the aircraft will power down completely. And then we'll be done with today's flight. Come on, APU, shut down. Yep, sorry Tog, I'm flying too early in the day for you. I just felt like it for some reason. Today I really wanted to do a flight. Then I need to go and find my dinner. Come on, APU. Oh, just as I said it. APU's gone, power is gone. This center panel here is going to flash at me a little bit, and then it should go out as well. There we go, that's it. We've got fail lights for the flight management computers. And now we're going to go batteries off. And the aircraft is now completely cold and dark once more. And you can hear the GPU chugging along on standby, and the fans making their nice tinkle tinkle sounds. So, there you go everybody. That was an example flight. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know that. I didn't realize it was so long. So yeah, that was an example flight from Stockholm Arlanda to Lulea in the Fenix A320. In my opinion, a very, very good simulation of the Airbus A320. Well worth a go. I hope that you guys all enjoyed that. And yeah, join me next time. Let me know if you enjoy this kind of video. I'm open to doing some more stuff like the A320 in addition to the DCS content that I do. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you all next time. Fly safe.